Beyond the Waves is a Hail Hail Media production. May not be appropriate for underage Tims. There's going to be sweary words. There's going to be adult situations being discussed. If you're in the company of underage Tims, turn up the show now and listen back later. If you're in the company of jelly and ice cream, serve it up, because we're having a good time. Hail Hail, and keep the faith.
It's all the same, we'll go anywhere. We'll be right there with you as you travel around. You can take us anywhere, we won't let you down. Over and over, we will follow you. Everybody, over and over, we will see it through, because we are Celtic supporters, faithful through and through. So over and over, we will follow you. If you go to Lisbon, we'll go once again. In summer, you'll find us there, calling out your name. If you need supporting, you will always know that we'll be right there with you everywhere you go. Over and over, we will follow you. Over and over, we will see it through, because we are Celtic supporters, faithful through and through. So over and over, we will follow you. Over and over. God bless us, Celtic! We will follow you.
Captain! Captain! Land ahoy!
Listen, do you want to chat about Celtic after the game and avoid the usual Scottish hacks? Then tune into the Beyond the Waves Celtic show on the Hail Hail Media channel. I'm telling you, Graham, the Rev, the coach, they're there after every game to take your calls and talk you down from the ledge if need be. The guys are live after every single match, and you can catch them at www.Spreaker.com and then just search for Hail Hail Media. So if you'd like some Celtic discussion that'll make you feel a bit Yankee Doodle Dandy, tune into Beyond the Waves radio show. Yankee Doodle.
The atmosphere when they hear us cheer,
as we sing the Celtic song.
Welcome to the Beyond the Waves Celtic Football Show. My name is Graham Wilson, and I'm going to try and get my volume correct here so that we can hear the Rev. Good stuff. 2-2. Dropped two more points today. Not the end of the world, in spite of much of the reaction on Twitter and elsewhere, message boards, so on. Major overreaction, in my opinion. I mean, let's be honest. We have 9 players now that are out injured after just giving everything that they had to qualify for the Champions League group stages. I mean, they left everything, including their fitness. And this is what we're left with. This is what we're left with in a scenario where we wait until the last day of the transfer window. And we'll talk about that. We brought in a couple of key pieces, I think, that are really going to have a nice impact on this side throughout the fall. Hopefully we can get some of the heart of this team back soon, so that we can go forward and we can gel once again, because we're a bit tattered at this point, and it really showed, especially in that second half. Joining me as always from Perth Amboy, New Jersey, it's the Rev. Hail, Rev.
Hail.
Ooh. Your sound is a bit low. I guess I probably shouldn't have mucked around with it beforehand. But what do you make of this, Rev? I mean, a lot of just the commentary on Twitter today after the game was really mind blowing. A lot of criticism going towards Neil Lennon. I don't know what other choice he had. Wanyama went off injured at halftime, and the complete complexion of the game changed. When you have a player that is so important to this side go out and replace him essentially with an 18-year-old player who has barely played, barely featured for the first team, the rhythm of the side and the game and the flow is going to be completely turned on its head. And that's exactly what we saw. I don't know what else we could have expected. Now,
No,
yeah,
you're right. I mean, I might be a bit critical. I wasn't a big fan of Twardzik today. Not, expecting stellar performances from him every single week. But I also think, especially in the first half, Wanyama was kind of covering his ass a bit. Not like he was really making mistakes, but I mean, having someone like, Victor Wanyama playing, behind you, to the side of you, definitely helps. And when he wasn't there, that we lost the midfield,
no question.
Yeah, there's no two ways about it. Like, it was just in ruins, and that was that dictated the second half of the game. It's not trying to make excuses and gloss over anything, but I mean, yeah, we should have won this game. but it's still early in the season. It's cliche. It's still early in the season. You know, it got beaten to death, but Hibs isn't the team that they were last year. They seem to be a better side, and they seem to be up for it this year. And, you know, I mean, it's not the end of the world. You'd think that we were in, like, relegation danger or something now by, you know, some of the things people were saying. And a lot of stuff was unlucky. I mean, both of Forrest's shots, you know, Patty's run in the second half. I mean, we should have won, yeah, but looking at all the other scores, no one else scored a goal in the league today. You know, whatever.
Well, I mean, listen, you make several very good points there. You know, I don't want to dwell too much on what else is going on in the SPL. I mean, you know, it was right there in front of us. The first, I mean, it was. I hate this cliche, but it was a tale of two halves. I mean, the first half, we had much of the ball. We were taking care of the ball. I thought Jamesy was making some nice runs down the right-hand side. Players were finding themselves in pretty decent positions. Tony Watt especially, he had his chances, and unfortunately he didn't take them. The woodwork was unkind to us once again. I mean, we hit the woodwork 3 times in the first half. It should have been 4-0. And we were completely in control. I mean, you know, I went out to feed the parking meter at halftime, you know, without a care in the world. Once hearing that Victor Wanyama went out, I mean, my first concern was, great, now we have another injury in the center of the midfield. And he really bosses the game. He really does. Like you mentioned, he was a step off the pace today, and come to find out that he's been carrying this thigh strain for the past several weeks, and he's played through it. I mean, he's dead on his feet. I got into a bit of a dialogue with somebody about the definition of dead on their feet. But I think that really sums it up. He limped in, from all reports, at halftime, and Neil Lennon, quite rightfully, in my opinion, took him off, decided it was the more prudent measure to rest him and not really push things. We're going to have about 10 days or so, actually longer than that, to rest, to get our strength back, to nurse some of these injuries. There's no point in pushing him any further if, you know, he's having to gingerly just walk down the tunnel. But replacing him with Jackson Irvin, who, I mean, let's be honest, he's never really featured for this first team in any remarkable sort of way. This was always going to be a lot to ask of a young player, especially now you're lining him up next to Filip Twardzik, who in his own right is a young player who we've tried to sort of lean into the side here, and he's done quite well as of late. But you're right, he does need a bit of a steadier hand next to him, and his I don't know if it's his confidence, but maybe his instinct, maybe his safety net. When Victor Wanyama went off, his safety net was removed, and that removed some of his conviction, and it really showed. He didn't have his best performance in the second half. But, you know, again, these are kids. These are 18, 19-year-old kids. And
Wanyama was Twardzik's security blanket.
He was, yeah. He was his blankie. That's nice. But, you know, he's a kid. It's an apt analogy. I mean, Wanyama's a kid as well. But
yeah,
but to the praises of Wanyama, he shows such unbelievable composure and maturity, and his ability to read a game and instinctively be, you know, where the ball, where he can read where the ball's going to be two passes down the line, and I think that gives him the extra second to close players down, and his ability in the tackle is second to none. Filip Twardzik brings an entirely different skill set to the table, and we've seen it on display. But I think that they work quite well together. Hopefully, that's going to be a pairing that we'll see together indefinitely into the future. But you know, the reaction of the fans, and you know, albeit a minority of the fans, but a segment of the fans nonetheless, booing the players as they walked off the pitch today is absolutely unacceptable to me. Absolutely unacceptable. And people might say that I'm overreacting to this. I don't care. It is unacceptable, full stop, zero tolerance for anybody to boo our players, especially the kids, as they come off the park. This was not chronic. This was not a shambolic performance. Yes, it was complete pish in the second half. No question about it. But these are kids. Tony Watt scores 2 goals, has a couple of decent games, and now all of a sudden we're going to just slay all sorts of abuse on him. You know, as if this is, Ibrahimovic. I mean, come on. Let's get a grip. Twardzik, all sorts of abuse towards him. Let's get a grip. You think Neil Lennon is playing the kids today because he wants to? This isn't elective. This is out of necessity. And this is what happens when you wait until the last day of the transfer window to bring in reinforcements. You run your starting 11, your key players that you need to depend on, into the ground. And fair play to them, because they got it done. But you know what? Let's just drop today. Let's go back to Wednesday. And Rev, let me get your thoughts on that. We missed you in the midweek show, and understandably, I just decided last second that I wanted to do something. So we Josh together and decided we were going to have a Beyond the Waves Paradise preview sandwich of goodness after qualifying for the Champions League, which many people are unfortunately forgetting. What were your thoughts on the game on Wednesday? We saw it was a completely different team. Let's be honest. I mean, there was 5 players. If you're not going to count Commons, who played then, didn't play today. Completely different completely different atmosphere as well. It seems as though many people are Celtic supporters when it's convenient for them and when things are going well. That's easy to do. But fair play to the supporters that were at Celtic Park on Wednesday. Phenomenal atmosphere and phenomenal performance from the side. What did you say?
Overall, I was, really pleased and happy. And, I was getting chills here at home, listening to everyone doing the huddle in the Champions League and, everything like that. And I wished I could have been there myself. The support was, on Wednesday it was fantastic and one of the best I've ever seen. The game went pretty well. Only 2 goals, but that's all we needed more. So everyone played great. Good to see Hooper get a goal in and Wanyama late in the game just to put the dot the I's and cross the T's right there at the end and make everything official. And just there's nothing nothing bad that you could say about that. It's just a great night. No
question about it. I completely agree. I mean, yes, we got some good fortune there from Gary Hooper's goal. I mean, he was miles offside, but
that's true.
And by miles, I mean, at least a yard, but it was clear. But I'm not going to hang my head or sort of, cringe at that. I mean, we've had enough bad luck. We've had enough calls go against us. We've had enough, go against us in the draws in the games themselves over the years, to certainly have something like that come back our way finally and eventually. It did us no harm, certainly. And then, like you said, Victor Wanyama coming in, taking advantage of some, let's be honest, absolutely shambolic defending. And putting it away, and from then on, that was it. I mean, the Helsingborg's players essentially chucked it from that point. We did a much better job of maintaining possession, I think, as compared to the away tie in Sweden, which was nice to see. And going forward, I am looking forward to more of that. I think that with a younger team like this, there tends to, I think, have a tendency to maybe punt the ball away when we get pressed and
like
today, instead of looking for the open man or when you do make a pass, and properly weighting passes is absolutely essential, which we saw absolutely none of today. Move away from the ball, help out the person that you just passed to, make a run, move, get open so that if they're under pressure, they can release the ball, and get out of trouble themselves. That's what was missing today in a large sense. I mean, it's sort of hard to break this down tactically because, these are young kids who are really feeling their way through the game. Go ahead.
This is the kind of game where, I've said it before, where, if you learn from your loss, or in this case a draw, with dropped points, if you learn from your mistakes and build upon it and correct it for the future and put that towards, winning other games, then it's really not a loss.
Yeah, I agree. It's and we didn't lose the game. It was against Hibs, who, like you said, this is not your father's Hibs. Pat Fenlon, and fair play to Paul Larkin. Shout out to Paul Larkin. Today is his book launch, so we wish him well for that. We hope that it's well attended and everyone is having a fantastic time. And thoughts with him today on hopefully another fantastic and successful book launch. Hopefully we'll have good stories coming out of that. If anybody is there and listening, please call in. We want to know how it's going. But credit to Paul Larkin. I believe he's stood up and defended Pat Fenlon. Maybe he hasn't. My memory is failing me a bit, but I know that there was someone who, in spite of their bad performances last season, had been defending Pat Fenlon, and at the time it didn't seem so clear. It's starting to become more apparent. Hibs in the second half. I mean, that's the first goal was an absolute shocker. Fraser Forster, that was his ball, no question about it. Lustig obviously didn't do any favors to the situation, but that's Fraser Forster's ball. Yes, he's made great strides in learning his craft, so to speak, in terms of bossing his area, in terms of just being an enforcer, coming out and getting the ball, using his size with that. And I think that maybe he just fell asleep in that particular second. It's going to happen, okay? Arthur Borich made mistakes. Not very often in his prime, but he did make mistakes. Fraser Forster is going to make mistakes. Maybe he cost us 2 points today. But that doesn't take away from his performances in Europe. That doesn't take away from the progress that he's made so far. It doesn't mean that he's a shite keeper. It means that he made a mistake. That's all. So, getting back to Hibs, I mean, Adam Matthews didn't nutmeg himself. So credit to the Hibs players themselves. They set out for 3 points today. Let's not kid ourselves. They didn't go out there trying to stifle us. They played football. They came at us, and credit to them. Honestly, I hope we see more of that. I hope we see more SPL teams start to take that mold and start to play attractive football. The spotlight is on the SPL this year. I don't care what anybody says. The spotlight is on the SPL for a lot of different reasons, and for maybe, for no other reason that people are seeing how the rest of the league is going to react to the absence of filth. And, quite frankly, this was a resounding approval of the sustainability of the league and of the sport in Scotland going forward without filth. So we got the result. Big celebration. I completely drove my wife crazy with the Champions League theme song.
Same here.
But I love it. I love that song.
I mean, on its own, I don't have a problem with the song. I've watched way more non-Celtic Champions League games just out of nothing being on TV or seeing a good matchup come up, and the fact that it's played for us for now is. It's more rewarding. I have a little more ownership of the song and everything. So I'm going to just, bang it into the dirt. I don't care.
See, but my tendency is Here we go. I don't sing the words to it. I mean, who the hell knows what the words are? It's in 4 different languages, all right?
Oh, is it? Yeah.
I barely speak English. So I just make up my own words. And
I just care about the last, the 2-second blurb that they throw out, the champions. That's all I care about.
Well, yeah, right at the end of every Heineken commercial,
Right.
Hugh Keevins is a ball bag. Yes. And Jim Trainer. The ball bags. And that you Keevins, you ball bag.
Ball bag.
Okay, so we qualify. Now, everything changes. Everything shifts. It's transfer watch.
Mm-hmm.
Twitter just goes absolutely mental. This person's coming in. That person's coming in. We were linked with every player who's ever played football. Ever.
What was your favorite rumor? I gotta ask.
Good question. Let's see. We're still getting linked with Michael Owen, which is hysterical. Berbatov was linked with us.
Oh, that's got to be one of my favorite ones too.
Yeah, Dimitar Berbatov on a year-long loan, right? And then a beam of light is going to appear out of my asshole. Let's see. Berbatov was linked with us. Of course, Makeda was linked with us. Arthur Boric was linked with us once again. Arthur Boric, free agent, and we're looking for a goalkeeper. Never, ever gonna happen. Ever. Never. Yampi's getting in touch in the chat room. Del Piero. I thought that one might have had legs, because we heard Neil Lennon actually comment about it, and listen, there was all sorts of debate about, we should be bringing in 37-year-old players. He's got something to offer still. I mean, he played for Juventus, won the Scudetto with Juventus last season, scored 5 goals in, I believe, 17 appearances. So he is no mug. He could do a job in the SPL. I believe if he was really committed. Now, my impression, given all of the dilly-dallying on his part, is that he's committed to one thing and one thing only, and that is money. He is looking for the cash. So, with that being said, I just don't have anything for him. Kieran's getting in touch in the chat room. Scott McDonald. Yeah, Scott McDonald. Sure, bring him back. Mm-hmm. Because that ended well.
I mean, just on Del Piero real quick, I kind of see him with any number of teams in MLS. I mean, that's kind of been beaten to death on that side of the coin. But, I mean, that's, he's been linked with MLS teams for, the past 3-4 years. I didn't think it was going to happen, but just the way things were going, and I, pulled that at my own ass, was Clint Dempsey to Celtic. I mean, that's more of a dream signing than than an actual rumor. And I admit that anyone who heard that was all for me, but,
You're the rumor starter. Twisted rumor starter.
But I mean, looking at it from, and the American standpoint too, the second that, that would have come out, America, green and white, boom, done. I don't know what his wages would have been or anything like that, or, if it could have been a loan, but that would have been magic in my eyes.
I can't disagree at all. I mean, us bringing Clint Dempsey to Celtic would have been the grand slam of all grand slams. I can't believe that he only went for $6 million. Now, yeah, I think he's 29 years old. So there's not going to be any sell-on whatsoever. It would require probably a 3 to 4 year contract. I would think that Clint Dempsey would have plenty in the tank to go that length of time in the SPL. Whether or not he'd even come to the SPL, that I think is really the the thing that discounts it. I mean, he turned down a move to Aston Villa and finally relented and wound up at Spurs. And I think that's just because Fulham said at 11 o'clock last night that they weren't going to sell him to Liverpool, and that was that. So they found Spurs, and he said, okay, well, I can be competitive with Spurs, and, approved it. But I don't think he personally would have come to Celtic. And, whatever, that's his prerogative. But
I put that up on, on Facebook, and I had, ironically, the only 3 people that even made any comment to it. 1, Sergey from Russia. 2, Nuno from Portugal, and this other kid, Mike, from Barcelona. And they're all like, oh, why would he want to go there? I'm like, to play against your shitty teams in the Champions League.
Yeah, that's a fair point, I guess.
Because they're all, Spartak.
But
these guys, yeah.
Spurs has one thing that we don't.
Show me the money.
Yeah.
And that's the bottom line. He's got one big contract left in him, and we're not going to be able to give it to him. So, bottom line, it's just, it's just not going to happen. So, we finally. Did you ever have in the back of your mind, going into Thursday night and then Friday morning, and nothing is happening.
Yeah. Absolutely. I was expecting, and I'm trying to
Nothing.
remember who said it and the way they put it, but I think it was Dale Boy. He said something to the effect of Peter Lowell goes to the shop for something like for jam for his toast, but got the wrong kind, but comes back and says he did his best or something like that. And that's what I expected. I expected to hear, we tried for this player, we tried for that player, but, you know, their parent team wouldn't give them up, or they changed the goalposts for prices, and, you know, the player demanded more wages, you know, some lip service to that effect. That's what I was expecting. Maybe, you know, a kind of a gimme Pittance signing, but yeah, that's realistically what I was expecting.
Yeah, I didn't have any expectation we were going to sign anyone. I didn't think we were signing anybody. I'll be completely honest with you. And I expected halfway through Friday there was the rumor going about that the F. Ambrose deal wasn't going to come through because he didn't qualify because 70% of his international caps were not in the last 2 years or something of that nature. And I'm like, oh, this fits the bill perfectly. You know, we're going to try, and then
Right.
F. Ambrose isn't going to get his work permit, and then after the fact, well, we tried real hard, but it didn't happen. And, you know, when I had to duck into a meeting, and I knew as soon as I came out, something would have happened because I'm sitting around, you know, waiting all day, and nothing's happening, and I'm just like, I'm just furious. And come out, we got him. We signed him, saw a picture of him at Celtic Park. I was elated. You know, quite simply, there's a couple things that, you know, that have taken me to F. Ambrose. First off, there are a couple of YouTube. I know everybody's cringing right now. There are a couple of YouTube clips of him. One's about 10 minutes long. The other one's about 15 minutes long. And credit to Celtic Rumors, Eddie Pearson from the Celtic Underground website. You know, he sent out that rumor that we had our eye on him several weeks ago, and I believe it was Fritz A. Grandold or maybe Eugene. I can't remember, but somebody sent out the YouTube video of him, and he looked tremendous in the video. I'm not gonna lie, I really liked him. It was Rev. It was love at first sight. I'm not ashamed to admit it. Couple of things stood out to me. Now, it was funny yesterday. You know, when I put my stamp of approval on it, then all of a sudden, you know, I get 9 responses on Twitter about, oh, you said the same thing about Bangura. Bullshit. I never said anything to the effect about Bangura. And if you rewind the tape, I was pissed off that we got him. I wanted Baba Diawara. And I called shenanigans on that whole thing. You know, where I wanted Diawara. Diawara's YouTube looked better. We have dueling YouTubes. But what I remember of Bangura's YouTube profile, clip, if you will, was they showed about 8 or 9 goals that he scored, but there was like 3 different angles of every goal. And, you know, they had like footage of him like hugging his teammates and, you know, celebrating. You know, I mean, it seemed like a lot of filler and a lot of fluff, and I wasn't impressed. And come to find out, he was absolutely shocking. With F. Ambrose, with the YouTube links that I've seen with him, there was 0 filler. You know, it was nothing but game action from his national team as well as his Israeli team. Now, some things that stood out to me. First off, he's excellent with the ball at his feet. It seems as though he's right-footed. He can pick a pass, both keeping it on the floor or through the air. A couple of things that stood out to me that I think will stand him in good stead in the SPL playing for Celtic. First off, he has, in my opinion, he has exceptional speed, remarkable speed. Not a real quick first step, but at full speed, it's breathtaking. It's a very similar dynamic to Sammy, where they have very long legs for how high or how tall they are, and by virtue of that, they don't need to work as hard to get up to full speed. It's fewer steps. And the second thing that struck me about him in these clips was that his instinct seemed exceptional. You know, when there seemed to be a break, when there seemed to be a through ball being played, he would see maybe 2 moves ahead, go there, and that would help him sort of cut off the play in the process. there was a couple of situations even when he got beat, on the first touch, or maybe he let a ball go over, and his pace and recovery was absolutely phenomenal. Now, secondly, I have a contact who is from Nigeria. Being in the D.C. area, we have a very diverse population around here. I have a customer who I have lunch with pretty frequently, and one of the places we go is a Nigerian restaurant, or an African food restaurant, rather. And I developed a relationship with this guy during the World Cup in 2010, where I saw posters up about the Nigerian national team. We would talk about it. I picked his brain about Wanyama. At the time, he didn't really know much about him. I guess being so young, he had more experience with Wanyama's older brother. But what he told me, and I went to him a few weeks ago after I saw the thing from Celtic Rumors, and I asked him, what's the deal with this guy F.A. Ambrose, and he sort of chuckled a little bit. What he mentioned was he will not stop working. He's a lot of courage, so he's very brave. And he's energetic almost to a fault. So he's a yellow card waiting to happen, which can be a liability. But I'd rather a center half that's going to be on the more aggressive side than what we've tended to see in the past, which is slow, more sort of pensive center halves in the Glenn Leuven's mold. So I'm really excited about it. It's the first center half really that we've signed with any sort of fanfare, I think, since Thomas Ronya. We signed Wanyama as a midfielder, not as a center half, and I can't really remember any other center half purchases that we've had. I don't even really remember Ronya having much fanfare. Keep in mind, when we bought him, he was about 19, and I don't even think he was playing for his first team side at the time. This player, in my opinion, I'll stick my neck out. I think he's going to be absolutely brilliant. I can't wait to see him. I can't wait to see him play. With how high of a line that we tend to play, we need a center half that can recover. And we've been missing that since. I'll use the example, and people are going to cringe and laugh at this, but Raphael Scheidt. When we signed Raphael Scheidt, John Barnes probably, and I'm just going to speculate, here's what happened. John Barnes saw a tape of him. Oh, Brazilian, check, that'll do. But in the Brazilian domestic leagues, They play a completely different brand of football to what we play in Scotland. First off, their back line, their defensive back four sits way, way back. They tend to sit much further deep than you would tend to see in Britain. And with that, the center halves don't need to have so much pace in recovery. So Raphael Scheidt, his profile never was going to fit in with how Celtic was going to try and play. With this player, I think we finally nailed it. We've finally gotten the type of player that is going to fit into the system that we need to play. Instead of just saying, that's a good player, so we'll bring that good player into the SPL and he'll be brilliant. No, you need to find the right kind of player. We can pick the biggest superstar from X league we want. But if we bring that superstar who's a superstar in that league to this league and it's completely different, they're going to be shown as a mug. That's just the end of it. And I think that over the past couple of years, we've brought in players who are aptly suited to play in Scotland. Players that can play in a telephone booth. Victor Wanyama, just absolutely exceptional in tight spaces. Very physical, doesn't get pushed off the ball. And tracking back, he can slow a player down before they hand off to the defenders. Kyle's a player of a similar sort of dynamic. So anyway, I'm enamored with that signing, F. Ambrose. I'll stick my neck out. And if he turns out to be rubbish, you can Skype in and tell me what a mug I am. And in fact, you can Skype in right now and tell me what a mug I am. Add us as a contact at Beyond the Waves. We want to hear from you. What do you think of the transfer window, what we did, the moves that we made? What do you think of the performance today? How worried are you? Give us a call.
What do you think about Bangor out on loan?
Bye. See ya. Bye.
I see a lot of people, saying, now we're down strikers and everything. Why send him out? My take, yeah, it was good. He's, he wasn't going to contribute anything now in the short term. He'd be a liability. Might as well, we'd be better off playing with 10 men on the field if he would come out as a starter. And if we can send him out on loan, at least he can get some experience instead of rotting on the bench for us or ruining games for us potentially, probably. So, like I said in the last show, but in this case, if he comes back from loan and he's scoring goals, I'll be the first one to say, good on you.
Well, plus we don't have to pay his wages anymore.
Right.
So, bye-bye.
Because he comes back in January, right? I think.
I hope not. He's not a football player. I don't know what.
No, it was, sorry, who do we send to Cali Thistle?
Andre Blackman.
Okay, he's the one that comes back in January.
Well, I think Bangura. I think Bangura is also a 6-month loan deal, but I hope he doesn't come back. They can have him. We don't need a fee. Just take him. Take him. Now, another player that we brought in, Miku. Almost sounds like one of those Pokemon characters, but man, I'll tell you what, he's class. No question. 12 goals last season in La Liga, including a brace against Real Madrid. This guy is no mug. 6'1", a bigger striker, exactly what I've been calling out for. Rev, what did I ask for in this transfer window? I didn't ask for much. What did I ask for?
You asked for a target man and a center back with pace.
Booyah. That's all I got to say about that. And here, there's all sorts of people who gave me stick throughout the month. We're going to go bankrupt. You want to send us into Sevco. You want to, liquidate the club. No, I don't.
So let me ask you this question now. When are you sending your apology letter to Peter Lowell?
I'll send my apology letter to Peter Lawwell when he apologizes for waiting till the last day of the transfer window to bring in reinforcements when our players were the walking dead in the first place, and now who knows how long they're going to be out. That's when I'll apologize to him. He doesn't deserve my apology. That's his job. Minimum remit. That's what he did. And now we're all happy because he just did what he was supposed to do. What a hero. Please. I'm not apologizing to him. He raises season ticket prices on everybody. He raises the kit prices, out into the stratosphere so people can't afford it. Now I'm hearing that the handicap places for the Champions League are going to be limited, because they have to put in advertising. What a bunch of bullshit. I'm not apologizing to him. Please.
Don't get me started on that.
Please.
I mean, I don't know, obviously, what the rules are over there. I know if that were to happen over here, the ADA, American Disabilities Act, would have, everyone would have said that and, had them, run, screaming. My sister's a quadriplegic. She's in a wheelchair for life. And, so that kind of hits home a little bit for me. And that's just fucking disgraceful, man. Fucking disgraceful.
Yeah, people who want to, come at me and lecture me about Peter Lawwell is a Celtic fan and he has a passion for Celtic. Answer me this. When UEFA comes in, let's assume that this is a UEFA mandate. When UEFA comes in and says, we're going to need X amount of space for disabled seating, etc., why didn't he immediately step up and say, we will put them in another place and have equal access? Why wasn't that addressed? If he's such a Celtic man, and if he has such a passion for Celtic, the club that was formed to serve the underprivileged, why isn't he addressing that?
I don't know if you saw it in the first half today. There was Izzy went to do a throw-in right at the corner flag, TV side, far right. And I just happened to catch a dude in a wheelchair right there by the corner flag. And the first thing I thought was, I hope he can come to the Champions League games.
It's disgraceful.
If you were so inclined.
It's disgraceful.
It's bad.
Yeah, no, it's disgraceful. Peter Lawwell, such a passion for the club. He's such a Celtic man. Meanwhile, he gets a pay packet of $800,000, and he raises ticket prices. He raises kit prices. He makes it harder for people to support the club. We save $5 million in wages. We got $1 million for coming to America.
21 million between Key and Champions League.
At least. Probably more than that. We probably got a few shekels for Juarez. So we're approaching about 25 to 30 million. And we spent $1.5 million. And in the process, he ran this team ragged. And now we're hearing reports that if we hadn't qualified for the Champions League, Hooper and Wanyama were gone. There was a bid tabled for Hooper for $8 million from Southampton, and there was a bid in for Wanyama from QPR for $6 million. So if we hadn't qualified for Champions League, they'd be gone.
Where did you hear that? Because I'm not disputing. I just haven't heard that until now.
Celtic rumors.
Okay.
And I had heard that from a couple of different people who are just sort of general sources.
Right. So that would have been it. The core of our team, between injuries and those hypothetical sales, we would not have had a team, really.
No. It would have been, we will regress to the mean and have the bare minimum to be able to be competitive in the SPL and just eke by, and being competitive for the SPL.
I was going to say, forget Champions League and forget dominating the league like we all expect to this year. We would have been going 70, 72 points with Hibs or Motherwell or whoever.
Right. Just regress to the mean. And all these people want to talk about the loss in TV revenue from not having the Huns. The SPL got an additional £1 million for Celtic getting into the Champions League. So essentially, that covers the loss. The loss is £1 million from them going down. So that's evened out. Armageddon everywhere. Now, another player that was rumored to be coming in was Johnny Russell. We didn't manage to get him. It was rumored that it would be a £2 million fee that we would need to pay. Peter Lowell essentially only wanted to pay $1.5 million. So once again, we missed out on a player for a few $100,000. When he, in my opinion, is overpaid by a few $100,000.
Yeah, me with that deal, I mean, I don't explicitly see the need for him. I guess that's kind of messed up to say with the position we are with players right now and injuries and such, but in the long run, I don't really see that need. But again, we're talking, pittance here, compared to what we should have in the coffers and the difference of what they wanted and what we were willing to give. Why not? Show me the money!
Yeah, I was against signing Johnny Russell before we got Miko in. Because I'm looking at this from a zero-sum personality, from a zero-sum perspective, if you will, where if we have a set amount that we are allowed to spend, I would rather us go and get a target man because that's a bigger need. Now, once we get the target man, and if we can get Johnny Russell after the fact, then go nuts.
Exactly.
Go nuts. Let's get him. And my thought process behind that is, number one, I think it would be worthwhile to put a boot up Gary Hooper's ass and get him a bit more focused, get a bit more sense of urgency into him. Secondly, it would provide a bit of cover there so that if that bid comes back in January for $8 million for Gary Hooper, let's we can send them on. Mm-hmm. We can take that $8 million and we can invest it. The other thing is, Dundee United were asking $1.5 million last year, and Peter Lowell only wanted to give out $1 million. If Johnny Russell has another decent season coming up, they're only going to ask for more. So essentially, in the long run, we are costing ourselves more money if we are actually going to go out and invest in quality by delaying.
And then, an English team in the championship or something who has $3 million lying around basically will overpay for him.
Well, exactly. Bolton will come in for, with a £3 million bid, and we will miss out on another young talent, another young domestic talent that we could bring through and provide cover so that if a bid like the one that came in from Huddersfield for Anthony Stokes for $1 million, we can send Anthony Stokes on his way. I think that would be a pretty decent bit of business, replacing Anthony Stokes with Johnny Russell. Anthony Stokes doesn't have as much upside as Johnny Russell does. That's why I think it's a good bit of business. We could pay $2 million for Johnny Russell, a couple of years, everything goes well, sell him on maybe for 4 or 5. Anthony Stokes is never going to be worth more than maybe $1 million or $2 million. That's just the reality of it. So that, in my mind, would have been a good move from a business perspective. But what do I know? Peter Lowell is the genius of all business people. I bow down to his genius. Now half the team is just crocked. We are so lucky that we have the international break coming up so our players can rest. We're very lucky. So we also brought in a third-string keeper from Slovakia, and I'm sure Snake Plissken can give us some insight into this. Well, I guess he's not an exceptionally young man, but providing some cover there because obviously we let Dominic Servi go, and he's back in the U.S. I think he's playing golf. He might be making the turn right now. He's probably on the back nine by now. So, if Neil Lennon says that he needs cover at goalkeeper, then, and it's not going to cost us an arm and a leg, then, so be it. That's fantastic.
I'm okay with it.
So, getting back to the point, a lot of people had problems with my berating Peter Lawwell throughout August and saying if Peter Lawwell took your attitude, we would go into liquidation, and it's absolute bullshit. I never said that we need to spend an arm and a leg. In fact, I repeatedly said that we don't need to spend $20 million. We just need to make some strategic investments that won't bankrupt us, but fill desperate needs that we had. And he waited until the last day of the month to do so. Now I'm happy with that, but it's too late. And the evidence of that was shown today. We had an 18 and a 19-year-old in our midfield, anchoring our midfield. And the wings of the midfield was Paddy McCourt and a 20-year-old. So Peter Lawwell is, once again, trying to get by and win by default on fumes, the bare minimum. And yes, it is exciting that we have such a dynamic academy that can bring through young kids and nurture talent and bring it through, as we've seen with James Forrest, as we're seeing with Tony Watt, as we're seeing to a certain extent with Philip Twardzik. But this is not sustainable on a long-term basis going forward, especially if we fancy ourselves a Champions League side. And we got exposed today. And for all these people who say, we're just going to play the kids throughout the SPL, I got news for you. It ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen with us having the type of results that we are expecting from Celtic.
I thought we were going to have a humping today. I was, with that quick goal off the corner, I was expecting, 4-5. It should have been, it could have been, but after the, especially watching just the passing and the rhythm and flow that the team had, I was pretty shocked,
Yeah, I mean, it did have banana skin written all over it, and I was pleased to see in the early going that we did look crisp and attacking, and full of life. And all it took was Victor Wanyama to go out, and the rhythm of the side completely changed. And when you put that much pressure on younger players who really haven't featured for the team ever before, you can't really expect much. Tony Watt put himself in decent positions and couldn't finish. Paddy McCourt made a lovely run and couldn't finish. What do you expect? He's played twice in the past 6 months. You think he's going to be Zidane all of a sudden? It's another, Paddy gets subbed off and all the snipers come out attacking Paddy McCourt. Paddy McCourt's not the answer. I don't remember anybody ever saying he was. I don't remember anybody ever saying Paddy McCourt is the answer. Paddy McCourt is a super sub. Paddy McCourt is absolutely essential to the side for those late November, December ties where the pitch is absolute atrocious, with opponents that are going to pack the box, with somebody that's going to need to sort of navigate and jink in and out of midfielders and defenders that just line up like parking cones. He's absolutely essential. He has won us games, and I think that's worthy enough to keep him on the team. Plus, he's exciting. He's exciting to watch, and he's not on a lot of wages. So everybody needs to get a grip.
I mean, I know it's armchair managing after the fact, but if that was me, I would have taken off Forrest, I think, and put on Commons and left Patty on, because then you could have had Patty still trying to do some runs, hopefully, straight at them and trying to, nick a goal, and maybe Commons do some of his distance bombs and curve a goal into the upper 90 at the last minute or something.
Upper 90! Yeah, I was not impressed with Forrest today. Let me know what you think about this. One impression that consistently comes up amongst, in our CSC, one of the consistent comments is James Forrest he's a whiner. He draws little niggly fouls and he goes down very easily, and then he puts his arms up and he looks at the ref when he should be tracking back. What do you think about that? Because I'm starting to become a believer in that. At first, I let that go because his talent and his ability sort of made up for it. Now
right.
I'm starting to see the sense in that. I mean, when we're going to play a game where Ian Brines is the referee, and let's not kid ourselves, even comparatively to the MLS, Ian Brines is the worst referee in the world.
Oh, but he let the game flow today.
Ian Brines is the worst referee in the world. Okay, so repetitively moaning to him or his linesman is not going to do. You have to at some point say, this referee is a prick. So I'm going to need to man up and just deal with this and fight, as long as I can. Because trying to draw the foul and then when you don't get it and then putting your arms up is not going to work. And he just consistently did it. I'm starting to be sort of on that side. What do you think?
After Wednesday, when he got taken down, or, I guess embellished on the penalty, and I was watching, whatever the Tools doing the Fox Soccer thing.
Yeah.
And they're going on like how, he was already going down. That's not a penalty. He was already going down.
He's got loads of pace. He's got quality. He's well organised at the back.
But no, I rewound it, and yeah, he was leaning forward. He was going down already. So, but I've been thinking that subconsciously a bit. But now that you say that, and I think about it, yeah, I'm kind of having to agree with that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's a bad player or, he's going to turn out to be crap or anything like that. I'm not getting on his case. But, I mean, it's a dangerous situation, because if he starts falling in that trap, especially at this young age, and instead of just getting back in and being hard-nosed and just, plowing through players like he seemed to do, last year, where he'd just make these runs and just, almost like Patty, but not quite as dramatic, a little more scrappy. And he'd, get, just pound these low goals in, low shot goals from, outside the box or from, around the 18-yard line. And, that's what he has to return to that, I think. If he starts, trying to go down for penalties and do things like that, then, he's going to waste his talent.
Yeah, I agree completely. If you're listening in, add us as a contact at Beyond the Waves on Skype. Give us a call. Let us know what you think about the transfer window, about Champions League. We're in the Champions League in spite of all this, just bullshit. Talking about fans at Celtic Park today booing. Please, give your head a shake, go home, and put this on. Don't boo the kids who played today. They're just 18 or 19 years old. They're just and they're still learning. You must support them, or else you'll ruin them. This is good. They are the kids playing with wee Jamesy and Patty and Tony Walt. Thank you.
Why you're not on American Idol, I have no idea.
Because I don't want to. I don't want to participate in that. That's not
You,
my.
you don't want to embarrass everyone else.
That's not my bag. I'm more modest than that. Okay. Another player, free agent signing. I guess that Neil Lennon had mentioned last night, and then of course, the neurosis that's Twitter kicked into overdrive. Is it Michael Owen? Is it Raul? Is it Ruud van Nistelrooy? Is Del Piero coming back?
Somebody said that their kid said yesterday, why don't they just sign Henrik Larsson back? Which I thought was adorable.
He's a free agent. We should sign him. No, it's not gonna happen. Lasad Nui Nui. That's a fun name. Nui Nui.
So who is the guy? I saw Seamus said it. What was his name? Lasad?
Lasad Nui Nui. He was born in Marseille, France, where the Jack the Lad, Joey Barton, wound up. He's currently learning how to say, can I give my testimony to the police in English, in French.
What?
Yeah. Born in Marseille, he's Tunisian. He plays for the Tunisian national side. He most recently, I believe, played for Deportivo La Coruña in La Liga when they had, I think they had a spell in the Segunda and the back up to La Liga divisions. And it looks like he has a decent scoring record. I mean, in 80 games, I think maybe 90 games, he scored 20 goals or 25 goals, something like that. Decent strike ratio. He's about 6'3". So I like the emphasis now on some bigger strikers, giving us some different options and more of an aerial threat. Rev, what did I ask for in this transfer window?
Target man, center back.
And what am I getting showered with right now? Big strikers everywhere. There's big strikers all over the place.
Oh, that's serendipitous, that is. Really looking forward to it.
Big strikers. Courage in the box. Now I'm starting to sound like Warren Barton. Yeah, he's got a lot of courage in the box. Good to see. Well organized, a lot of spirit. So there's some dispute this morning. Or I guess it's this morning here, but it was during the game that Lasad Nui Nui was going to be signed by Levante, which Neil Lennon disagreed with. Apparently the paperwork is all filled out. They're expecting him at Celtic Park tonight, which should be any minute now. I think that is. I think it's tonight there already. It's this afternoon here, but it's tonight there. If anybody,
I thought it's tomorrow there.
No, it's tomorrow in Australia.
I thought it was last week in Australia.
Rev.
Sorry.
So if anybody has a Lasad sighting, please call in. I'm getting nervous. Nobody wants to call. Yumpy's getting in touch in the chat. His Wikipedia page has him at Celtic, so that must make it true. So still no sighting of Lasad Nui Nui. Willie Keane is hot on the case, though, of a Nui Nui song. Good luck with that. There's a bit of debate about, throughout this entire process. And, I mean, this past month of August was tumultuous. I mean, there was a lot of turmoil amongst the Celtic support themselves, a lot of debate, that we were wrapped up. Well, you not so much. I mean, everybody's scared of your goofy ass, but me, everybody wanted to have a swat at me like I'm a human piñata. But lots of debate going on, lots of back and forth, which is fine. One thing that I found interesting was the amount of criticism that John Park picked up, or that has picked up, I guess, over the past couple of days. One side says, yeah, he's made some great signings. We should get behind it. We should support F.A. Ambrose. It's a John Park discovery. And me personally, I think that this fits into the mold of the John Park discoveries. Your Wanyamas, your Kayals, players from these remote places who play in a specific sort of way, I think that fits quite well in with Scotland. But there were a lot of people that said, oh, he's just going to be another Bangora. Oh, John Park picked Murphy. John Park picked Rasmussen, which he didn't. He didn't pick Murphy. He didn't pick Rasmussen. John Park picked Juarez. He didn't pick Juarez either. Neil Lennon picked Juarez, but after seeing him play for Mexico in the World Cup, Darryl Murphy was picked by Lennon because he played against him while he played for Nottingham Forest. Rasmussen was picked by Tony Mowbray. So, anyway, a lot of blowback, though. I think John Park has been absolutely phenomenal. He's been a phenomenal servant to the club. He's picked some of the most dynamic players that we've seen in nearly a decade, and I think he's to be applauded. And if he selects a particular player from Israel and brings him in and says, yes, this is a worthy investment, or it's only going to cost us $1.5 million, get me some cider, bitch, because I'm celebrating.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree. I don't usually get that deep into like the total inner workings of the team and the behind the scenes type stuff. I try to stay up to date with as much as I can, but a lot of that stuff I'm unable to. But when it comes out that player X was spotted by him, player Y was recommended by him, and then I see who the players are, of course, usually not knowing who the hell they are from the get-go. But
I like that.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm not disagreeing. That's, but yeah, after that's happened a few times and it's like, he's recommending this player, I'm, going to go in and say that that's probably going to be a good signing for us.
Yeah, I agree.
Not every player we sign is going to be fantastic. That's how it happens. They're not always going to fit in with the team, right away or maybe ever. But, as long as most of them pan out, what more can you ask?
I agree completely. Yes, every player that he's selected has not been brilliant. So what? That doesn't mean that we should act like every player that he's going to select going forward is going to be shit, just because he picked a shit player once. The fact of the matter is his percentages are pretty good. And if you take on the merits of what you've seen, my buddy, who is a Nigerian fan, gives his stamp of approval. He says that, he's energetic almost to a fault. And my first thought was Kayal. And to a certain extent Wanyama, but not necessarily. And I asked him, he's familiar with Wanyama now. I said, is he like Wanyama? Because he was saying he can go in the midfield as well, but he's really more of a center half. I said, well, is he like Wanyama then? He said, no, he's definitely more gangly than Wanyama. He's not as solid.
Yeah.
But he's tall. He said he thinks he's taller than 6'3", and he's quick. And I was at first I thought one of the videos had the Last of the Mohicans music, and I thought maybe it was just the music. That got me going. So I watched it in mute, and it still looked good. I still had the same thought. He still did the same stuff. I was still impressed by the same things. I'm willing to give him a shot.
And I looked him up, since we all know that FIFA 12 and his life. But I looked him up, his other, the Israeli team's not in the game, but there's created versions, and he's, obviously it's made by other players, but he's rated pretty highly, and, his things, a lot of people, are pretty good at making players like this, but yeah, he's listed as a central defensive midfielder a lot of times. There's like 4 or 5 versions of him, and I think only 2 were center backs. The other 2 were midfielders.
It's like Dirk Kuyt. I used to call him the holding, attacking, winging striker. Plays like about Jisung Park. I almost saw Jisung Quaid. Ji-Sung Park is a similar sort of player where, he plays that sort of holding winger, attacking striker position. I mean, he really can play him almost anywhere on the park. Ambrose, by all accounts, is more of a central sort of player. And I think with his pace and with his ability to pick out a pass, long passes, short passes through the air, I think that can be useful. But, obviously, as today evidenced, we are desperate for cover at center half. Lustig scored the goal today and was really responsible for the second goal as well. He really got found out once again. You just sort of wait for things to click. I don't know if he needs to look to sort of rearrange the Nazi look that he's fashioning at the moment. I mean, maybe he needs to lose the mustache. That thing is hideous. I don't know, but he's not really showing me much. Fair play to him. I mean, he scored 2 goals today. One from a Patty McCourt corner. That was
the other one they rescinded it and
they gave him
an own goal.
Own goal, yeah.
Maynard did it best. He called him D'Artagnan. All for one and goals for all.
Maynard is quality, and he is the dead ringer for Joe Ledley. I kid you not. That guy looks exactly like Super Joe Ledley. I just don't get the hate for Patty. And you can say that it's not hate all you want, but I mean everybody that there's sort of a gathering, sort of a clique of a gathering of the Patty haters who pretty much say the same thing constantly, and I just think he's worth it.
Yeah, it's not like he's on $12 million a year or anything like that and playing every game. Then people will have an argument, and I would agree with that. But he's on peanuts basically, and he's coming in as subs usually and starting and maybe playing 60, 65 minutes. So, what can you expect?
I have a couple of things I want to point out from the chat room. First off, Yampi again, really active in the chat room today. He wishes that Sammy wouldn't shave and that Lustig would. Fair point. And Thomas Payne also getting in touch. He's saying,
didn't he die for our revolution?
He certainly did, and we salute him for doing so. He is mentioning, he's listening to Beyond the Waves, ordering pizza, listening to the playlist in the background with the Rebs. Pizza guy is a Sevconian, like the usage of our word, the Sevconians. Or Sevconeheads, of course, can be interchangeable. Once gave him a £1 tip and said, you can buy Rangers off white now. The pizza man is a Sevconehead. So there you go. You know what I'm thinking, Rev? Everybody who listens to our show, who Skypes us, they're probably at Paul Larkin's book launch.
That's probably true, yeah.
And probably under strict orders not to call the show at all, under any circumstances.
Paul's feeling a bit of jealousy. He doesn't want us to steal his thunder, obviously, so,
No, we hope Paul is having a fantastic time. We hope that maybe Josh can pick up the tab for everybody in there. I kid, Josh. I kid, Josh. Drinks are on Josh tonight. Oh, goodness. Susan Boyle got a lot of stick, which I found absolutely hilarious. People gave me so much harassment over the month of August saying that I'm anti-Celtic and all of the abuse that I give Peter Lawwell, it's out of order and, this, that, and the other. And I kid you not, I'm not going to name names, but some of the same people who called me out because Peter Lawwell wasn't investing in the team then bitched their asses off because Susan Boyle was selected to sing You'll Never Walk Alone at halftime at the game on Wednesday.
Is she a Celtic supporter?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, she's more of a novelty over here. Obviously, she has a bit more impact, in the UK and everything. But over here, we know who she is. But she's a Celtic supporter and she's a famous person who has a good singing voice. What do you want?
I'll tell you what I want, and you'll know you'll know this voice as soon as you hear it. We've been joined by the lovely, the talented Deco from Dublin. by way of Aurora. Go on, you good thing. Hail, Deco. How are you?
Hell, you must be drunk if you're saying I'm talented. I thought I was calling in to give Susan Boyle a vote for the X Factor. I must have the wrong number. Sorry, I'll love yous and leave yous.
No. Stick around.
What's the crack, boys?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. You know, just gaining perspective and trying to, just make sense of the past week. I guess it's been full circle.
It's been one hell of an exciting week for the Celtic crew, and I tell you, you have to say it's been brilliant. I'm elated that we're in the Champions League. Elated that we got Barcelona again. I know a couple of the boys at home aren't too happy because they've been to Camp Nou so many times. They wanted something different, but I'm just blissfully happy with life that we got them. As soon as Barcelona were drawn, I'm like, we're going into that group. When Benfica appeared, I'm like, we're definitely going into that group. I was saying it on Twitter at the time. We're going in there, guaranteed.
No question. What do you think of our prospects? We really haven't talked about the Champions League, the group that we're in. Let's hear from you. What do you think of this group? I mean, is this doable for us to get out of this group into the knockout stages? How does our position in this group compare to others? I mean, obviously, Group D, forget about it. We're done. But whoever gets into that group, I think it's possible that no team will get out of Group D whatsoever.
Well, yeah, that's very possible. Anyone in Group D can come through. I mean, to have Madrid, to have City, to have Ajax, and to have Borussia Dortmund. Don't be surprised if you see Ajax and Dortmund coming out. Although I'll say it's a shock, you just never know. As for us, I think the obvious team to come out top is Barcelona. Not to say that it will happen, but I mean, on paper, that's the obvious one. See the other three teams that are in there, themselves, Moscow, Benfica. Realistically, there's not that much to draw between them. Any one of us can finish second in that group easily.
Yeah, I agree.
It just depends on. We have to bring back the siege mentality that we had at Parkhead and European nights. We got to scare the living shit out of the teams that come in. And I mean, I was there in Benfica when we won 3-0. So I was in Parkhead that night. I don't see why we can't do it again. The Moscow game, didn't we qualify for Europe by beating Spartak Moscow?
I believe we did.
So I mean, it's if we can get 6 points at home from those two games, if we can nick a draw against Barcelona at home, there's 7.
I think we're golden.
All we have to do is beat one of the, and even if we lose against Barcelona home anyway, if we can just nick a win against Moscow or Benfica, 9 points should see us through, I think.
I think so as well. And I there's several things that are aligned for us as well. This is in keeping with Seamus Cummins' statement last December that 2012 is going to be the year of the Celts. First off, we are going to have our first tie in the group stages is home to Benfica. I think that sets up nicely for us. Let's be honest, Benfica are no mugs. They knocked out Manchester United last year. Let's not forget that. It was a Manchester United that was decimated by injuries, no less, but this is a side with quality, and they're going to be up for it. With that being said, I think that our styles really line up well, to sort of exploit our strengths. First off, they're going to allow more space in between that midfield bank of 4 and their defenders. So I think that gives us an extra second or two of time on the ball to get set up, to set up moves. It's a shame that Key is gone because I think that he really flourishes in that sort of scenario. But nonetheless, I think the players that we have here now, especially young Twardzik, if we're going to give him a run out with injuries lingering towards the end of this month, I think that really plays into our hands. And like you said, I mean, turning Celtic Park into a fortress once again, we've proven, and you can look at last fall's Europa League campaign as a guide for it. I think that we are on pace to establish that once again with the seasoning of a stellar away record in Europe that we're nurturing here as of late, going back to Udinese last year. So if we can start off that first tie, getting 3 points against Benfica, I think that sets us going with a lot of confidence. Obviously puts us in a good placement early on, and who knows what'll happen from there. I mean, obviously Barcelona is going to be a tall order for any side. Let's not kid ourselves, but it is there to be taken. Like you said, any one of those other 3 teams that are in that group, including us, can finish second.
Well, shadow of a doubt, there's no reason why we can't. I mean, we've been there before. We've bet Barcelona. We bet a better Man United team when Nakamura scored that cracker, but than they are today. It really is. Once you're in the big time, anybody can possibly win. I mean, you can go back to the Euros if you like as an example. Who would have ever thought Greece would bloody win the thing? They did. It's not impossible. We can do it. Is it likely? I don't think so. And as a segue, it goes. Why I really called in is because of our transfers that we did in the market.
What do you make of the transfers? Give me your thoughts here.
This is why I called in. This is a segue to it. I'm going to reserve judgment. Not an awful lot of rumblings at home that people are not happy with them. But like all things, who ever heard of Wanyama? Ever heard of Izagiri? Ever heard of these players that came from nowhere?
Well, exactly.
And they've turned into be fantastic players. I mean, I had an argument with one or two people. I said, I'm going to reserve judgment. I'm not really a Lawwell fan, but I'll reserve judgment and I'll see what happens. We wanted a target man. We got a 6'3" target man. Wanted a central defender. We got a monster of a defender. So you have to kind of... And they're in our price range. Let's be honest. We're not going out and spending crazy money. We're not spending $8 million on players like Rhodes, Cone, Blackburn, and da. We're spending within our means.
That's absolutely mental.
And as you say, there's definitely a surplus. Here's where the catch-22 comes in. Don't want to be very presumptuous, but the bottom line is, if we don't win the league this year, it really is a catastrophe.
Oh, no question. No, it's disaster.
It's catastrophe.
Mm-hmm.
So it's safe to say, in my opinion, that we should win the league this year. So when it comes to spending, what do you spend your money on? Do you spend to win the Champions League? In order to do that, are you going down the route of Sevco? Possibly. I don't know. I think this year is a test case because we're really in uncharted waters right now. We don't know what's around the next corner. So it was penny foolish, pound wise by only signing XYZ amount of players right now. Let's just test the waters and see what happens.
I completely agree with you on several different levels. One place that I want to follow up with you on, though, is I agree completely with the wisdom in spending a prudent amount and addressing glaring needs and not just buying players for the sake of stockpiling, which I like to see that we weren't going to try and push the boat out for Johnny Russell without addressing those other issues first, because let's be honest, at this current moment, we have other players that can do the job that Johnny Russell would be brought in to deal with. With that being said, I take issue, and where I have problems with is the fact that Peter Lawwell didn't release the funds until the last day of the transfer window when we were playing, the heart of our team, essentially. Our starting 11, we were running them into the ground trying to qualify for the Champions League, and they gave everything they possibly had in order to make it happen. Peter Lawwell waited until the very last day, and what do we get? We got, now again, I completely agree that if we can get players of that quality for lower prices, then it's prudent to do so. But if we were only going to spend $1.5 million on players, why did we wait until we qualify for the Champions League? Could we not afford $1.5 million 3 weeks ago and give ourselves an even better shot of qualifying for the Champions League? This I don't understand. Why did we wait?
I think it's one of these catch-22s. Celtic being a big team, so if you're going to these minnow teams and you're sniffing about one of their players, they're going to hold on till the last second. They'll say, we want this, we're going to table this, and they're just going to wait to see who blinks first. I mean, that $500,000 for, for Johnny Russell, that was the difference. Even yesterday, who was going to blink first? Celtic? Were they going to blink for $500,000?
Well,
they said, give us two, you can have them. We said 1.5. I figured someone was going to blink at some stage, and no one blinked. Maybe they did come back and said, okay, we'll take 1.5 or we'll take 1.75. But a deal was already done in place, so they said, you know what, have a nice day.
Well, yeah, at the end of the day, they have all the leverage. So we can have we can win a staring contest, but Peter Lawwell shit his pants. Because what happens here is Johnny Russell let's say Johnny Russell goes out and scores 20 goals again. You think they're going to ask for $2 million next year? No, of course not. They're probably going to double it, and a team like Bolton's going to come in and pay that $4 million, and we get sitting there holding our brajol in our hands. By pushing this off until whenever, we would have to double what we'd have to pay in the long run anyway. And if we would have spent the extra $500,000 to bring Johnny Russell in now, it sticks a cattle prod right up Gary Hooper's ass, gets his ass in line. And then if a bid comes in from Southampton, like I'm hearing it did just a few days ago for $8 million,
it did.
And
It did come in. We were looking at another player, and if we got them, he was gonzo. I heard that last night.
Okay, so why don't we wait? Why don't we get Johnny Russell now? Wait till a bid comes in January from Southampton for $8 million or whatever. You'd take the $8 million, and that covers the $2 million that you would have spent, this August for Johnny Russell. Then you already have an able player who can step right into that position. And you're not left there with a gap. Johnny Russell's never coming to Celtic. I'm saying it right now. He will never wear a Celtic jersey, and it's because of £500,000 that Peter Lawwell didn't want to spend. It's exactly the same scenario as Stephen Fletcher, who, by the way, scored a brace today for Sunderland. It's the same exact scenario. People want to say, well, we don't know if buying Stephen Russell in 2009 would have won us the league. Well, we know that not buying him didn't win us the league. It lost us the league. So by doing nothing, we cost ourselves in the long run.
Possibly, it's the old scenario. If me aunt had balls, she'd be me uncle.
Very well put, Deco. Very well put.
As for today's game, I mean, I only called in briefly. I got to rock and roll and get ready for work. Today's game, as Jack Charlton said, it was a game of two halves completely. I think you're right in what you said. The boys came out all guns blazing, and then I think Pat Fenlon. A lot of people wrote off Hibs this year as going to be a rubbish team, but I seen Pat as a player and a manager when I lived in Ireland before I moved over, and he did wonderful things with the League of Ireland clubs he was with. So when he went to Hibs, I thought, this could be a good sign for the Hippies.
Yeah.
And obviously he had to rebuild this team, and Celtic came out all guns blazing. I mean, you had two babbies in there. They want to go out and impress Watt and Twarzik. Mm-hmm. They wanted to show it all off. So they, as I say, all guns blazing. But then Fenlon, seeing what the game plan was able to adjust it, and by far they were the much better team in the second half. It should have been 4-0.
No question about it. If we would have taken our chances,
like Helsingborg in the first leg, we should have put it to bed.
No question,
and we didn't.
Yeah, no, I think there was
a similar scenario this afternoon or this morning.
I agree. I mean, it was a bit different where we had our chances, we just didn't take them. I don't necessarily think we took our foot off the gas in the first half, but when Yama was taken off, it was completely different, never the same, and it's a lot to ask of Jackson Irvin and the rest of the young players. But it's not the end of the world. We got to draw against the other team that's at the top of the league. We have a game in hand, obviously, but
if you turned around and you said to me last Friday night that we're going to win 4-2 against Inverness, we're going to win 2-0 against Helsingborg, and we're going to be held 2-2 with Hibs, I would have bit your bloody arm off, because see that Inverness game? I thought we were going to get humped in that game.
No question about it. It's a great point.
Truly and utterly thought we were going to get humped, because all resources were going towards Wednesday.
Yeah.
To end up 4-0 up, I thought,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I was blown away last week, and then obviously Wednesday was fantastic. I near fell off the chair more than once. I was flying Deco again.
Fantastic. We'll let you fly here. I know you got to get going. Thanks so much for calling in, pal. Go on, you good thing, and we'll talk to you soon. All right. All the best.
Very quickly, best of luck to Paul with his book launch tonight. Haven't heard anything yet from over there, but please go all going from, and I'll talk to you boys soon, all right?
Fantastic stuff. Hail, Deco.
Right.
Thanks, pal.
Bye.
Yep, cheers.
Bye.
Deco from Dublin, by way of Aurora. I say no news is good news as it pertains to Paul Arkin's book launch. If they're not calling in, they must be having one hell of a party. And I'm glad for him. Fair play. And the people that couldn't make it are sitting around listening to us. So, it's a can't miss. You can't lose. Get to hear me sing. You're at the book launch. Paul Larkin. Oh, wow. I'm ready.
I'm going to go ahead and assume you found some Iron Brew last night then.
Yeah, I found I found the Iron Brew. You know what? I didn't like it at first. I think the first time I had it, it was out of the can, and it was just
saying that.
Yeah, it was just it was awful. But out of the bottle, it was excellent. Out of the bottle and ice cold, ooh, that's good for hangover. You know?
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
if you really got after it the night before, get you some iron, bro, and you're sorted.
I was told yesterday that really the glass bottle is the cream of the crop, but that's not available here.
Yeah, you can't get it, and I don't want anybody sending that over because you never know what'll happen. I've had some stuff show up here and just not great condition. It's salvageable, but I'd hate to see what could happen with the glass bottle of Iron Brew. Speaking of which, I just got a CD from the Quadrophenians, and
oh yeah,
yeah, shout out to them. I guess it was Paul that sent it over. I don't know if it was Paul or not, but Paul Byrne. That is, I'm not sure who runs their Twitter feed, but nonetheless, thank you, fellas, for sending the CD over. I just got the mail before I went on the air, so I didn't have a chance to load it up. Otherwise, I would have played. I would open with one of their songs, but we'll open with one of their songs next week. No question about it. Or actually,
right up my alley.
The week after, I'll sort you. I'll get them to sort you. You can also find them on iTunes. Actually, you can get their stuff on iTunes, and they're great. Great stuff. So I'll load them up. I don't know if we're going to do a show next week. It's the international break. I could probably use a break, to be honest. International break, Rev. Do you care? I don't care.
I mean, I don't know who anyone's even playing. I think Scotland's playing Bulgaria. Is it, if I saw the advert correctly? I don't know who the U.S. is playing. I think we're playing Jamaica in a qualifier.
Who's the U.S. playing?
Jamaica.
I read.
Yeah. The more I think about it, we're playing Jamaica.
I read.
If there, I believe.
Lovely. Montego Bay.
I mean, I probably won't watch it. It also depends on what time it's on. If probably 8:00 game for us. No, I'll be out next week. Someone's having a Mad Men party.
Mad Men party. Jesus, Rev.
Never watched the show.
Oh,
it's an excuse to get fancy dress.
Your Doctor Who and your Mad Men party. Jesus. No, what kind of skinhead are you?
That's just an excuse to put on my vest and go, fancy dress and drink cocktails like it's 1950. No, the Doctor Who thing, I'm wearing my Dalek shirt. I already made Dalek cookies. We're making stuff later on. Yeah.
Oh my God. You're the nerdiest skinhead ever.
The reason I was late for the show is because we went to Party City to try to find fezzes to wear.
Oh, God, I need pictures. You have to have Amy take loads of pictures and put them on your Facebook. You can find Rev on Facebook at Rev Gary Oy or Rev Oy, whatever?
Yeah, well, Facebook doesn't let you do Rev, so it's like REV''D.
That's controversial, mate.
Yeah, but no, we couldn't find the fezzes, so actually when I get off the air, I'm going to I have some red construction paper. I'm going to try to get a rig one.
If you're in the northern New Jersey or New York metropolitan area and you can hook the Rev up with some fez material or a proper fez, please do so. And please, if you can send it by courier to the Rev at Perth Amboy, New Jersey. Fantastic. Well, have a wonderful time with your fez party. I have some friends of mine coming over, and I guess I'm going to cook on the grill if it doesn't rain. I think we have filet mignon. So I'm gonna have to,
filet mignon.
Filet mignon. I think we're trying to sign him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to lock him up on a 4-year deal. I'm gonna actually lock him up on a 20-minute deal. At 350 degrees, mate. Juan Manuel Noriega. Who's that? What? I should be better at this. I'm almost fluent in Spanish. Jauregui. Juan Manuel Jauregui is getting in touch in the chat room, listening from Argentina. Rev, you have any song lyrics for Argentina?
No. What do we have? Yeah. Wait. You're the
Las Islas Maldivas. Oh, damn it! Now I screwed it up. I needed your help. Viva Las Islas Malvidas. Whatever. We just made a complete and utter mug of that. Gary Boy's getting in touch. Yeah, I mean, if you want to give us a buzz, please do so. Another Gary. We got too many Garys on this show, mate. Yeah, here we go. Islas Malvinas. Yeah, there we go. Juan Manuel's Fenian Army. Our chat room is absolutely the best. Nobody has a chat room as good as ours. Yeah, so we do love a bit of the Argentinians. So welcome, Juan Manuel. Where are my notes? So my impression is qualifying for the Champions League completely changed the scope of the club for the next 5 years. And I mean it's clear to see. Let's absolutely. And I'm gonna take you down a stroll.
Learn me something.
I'm gonna learn you. You're gonna get your learn on. All right, Gary. If you're listening, please give us a call. Just hit call on us or whatever. If we didn't qualify, let's just say some darkened Dimension X, right? We sell Gary Hooper. Gary Hooper's now at Southampton. Victor Wanyama is at QPR. We limp through this season. We struggle to win in the SPL, but I think we still would. I think it would be a lot closer than it would even need to be. I think there would be more detriment coming through about how much we need Rangers. I think there would be even more sort of favors going through to try and prop up Sevco and try and sort of give them all the life support that they can possibly get. Then next season, no matter what, we have 3 qualifying stages to get into the Champions League. So we would be further weakened. We would have even less revenue. We would have to sell more players, and we would have we would have an even lower likelihood of bringing in players to strengthen our side in order to help us qualify for the Champions League. So it would be even harder to qualify for the Champions League. If we didn't qualify for this season, I'd have a hard time putting my faith in the fact that we would qualify next season, and the problem compounds itself. It would not get better. By us qualifying, we have an injection of nearly £30 million. We've already strengthened the side. Could we have done more sooner? Yes, but we didn't. Fortunately, we have the international break. We're going to be playing in the Champions League group stages. What we can do now is build from a position of strength. What we had the opportunity to do is purchase a Johnny Russell to provide us cover so that when a bid comes in now for Gary Hooper, we can sell him for the $8 million that he's been valued at. And we would get Johnny Russell at $2 million. We didn't do that. We still have Tony Watt. It's fine. Anthony Stokes is still, contrary to what many like to say at this point, I think he's still a fine striker. I think he can do an exceptional job, especially with SPL games. And we can build from that going forward. That's all I'm saying. We're joined now by Gary Boy. He's getting in touch. Hail, Gary. Thanks so much for calling. What'd you make of the game today? What are your thoughts? I mean, is this? I mean, is this like panic button? Like all men, man your stations, or is this to be expected considering the situation that we're in just now? Your thoughts?
Oh, it's to be expected, Graham. Well, by the way, it's just another bad day at the office,
yeah.
And it's just not, it's not the end of the world. It's going to happen. We've just won a very crucial game on Wednesday night, and I actually thought at first I didn't realise we were actually going to play on the Saturday, because I thought we were going to play on the Sunday, considering it was on the Wednesday.
It was on a Wednesday, right? Yeah.
The Helsingborg game. But no, I just, there were chances, and we did hit the woodwork, as you said earlier on. But that wasn't going to happen. The youngsters, did the best they could, but didn't finish them, off the chances there. And Paddy McCourt, as you said, Paddy McCourt did no bad as well. I do think, what we've been saying, I know you've been saying last week about, the Paddy haters and what have you. It's just that I think for those who you may describe as Paddy haters, the ones who may be critical of Paddy McCourt are only critical because they believe that maybe he might not get any better as a player, and because that in the past we've seen him play, and we're always we always notice he's fragile in games, and can easily get injured, any time, so that. But no, I'll be glad. I like to admit I'll be wrong. I'm wrong if he does get better as a player. So no, just a bad day at the office, and and good thing we got the international break. Any players who are not in international duty, can just rest and get back to playing that football.
I agree completely. You make several great points here. First off, the fact that the players who we have who are carrying knocks right now, who are out injured, we seem to have a lot of bad luck with our players going away on international duty. So often they come back with some sort of knock, or it just always seems as though their international teams just ship them back broken. And that sort of takes away from it. Like you said, I think that's a silver lining here, where throughout this international break, many of our international players aren't going to be available, and in a certain light, I think that's good. I think that give them the time to rest, to regain their strength. I think we found our form. I think we've really hit our stride, and that's going to be good. Coming into our next game on the 15th, and in the run into the Champions League group stages proper. It's just one of those things. It's a bad day at the office, like you said. Forster made a huge mistake. It's going to happen. Players make mistakes. Unfortunately, the mistake that Forster made led to a goal. Unfortunately, Adam Matthews had a bit of a defensive frailty there, and he's 20 years old. He's 20 years old. He has a lot of improvement to come, a lot of upside in front of him. So we need to have the perspective there. We need to be accepting of that, and we need to support the team. The booing and the constant moaning and whinging. It's absolutely, it's detrimental, and I made a comment about this on Twitter that, everybody likes to talk about Celtic as being more than a football club. The people that boo the club at the stadium treat Celtic as though it's only a football club. Bottom line, what makes Celtic special is the fans, and I fail to see what's so special about fans that turn up and boo a bunch of kids that are trying. This was not a chronic performance. This was not shambolic. I didn't see any give up. These are kids. They're trying to find their way. And when the fans act like spoiled brats, I'm sorry, there's nothing special.
I honestly believe that that whoever was booing at the game, it certainly wasn't the Green Brigade. No. Now, football ultras fans, throughout Europe, whatever they do, they never boo their own team. They always back their team.
Exactly.
But they always make their point. Usually directly at the board. Now I'm going to bring up your favourite man here, Peter Lawwell. I remember the time when he made promises of a couple of signings at the turn of 2009, I think, during the Mowbray season. Or the Strachan season, I can't remember.
Strachan's last season, yeah.
Yeah, and the signings never came. And I remember
we did get Willow Flood.
Well, Willow Flood, yeah, that's true. That's true, yeah.
I'd rather get an epic flood.
Yeah, it's just but I just remember the attitude at the time. Where everybody was like, why is Peter Lawwell telling us, making promises that at the end he can't keep? He's saying all this on Celtic TV, as I remember well, and the signs never came. And I remember the Green Brigade a year later, or not long after that, made banners to make that point to him. Don't ever make false promises again to us.
Yeah, exactly. You're exactly right. And the bottom line is, Peter Lawwell is beyond reproach, and he knows it. So he knows that he can tell you exactly what you want to hear, exactly whatever the hell will make you happy in that particular moment, and there's nothing that you can do to hold him accountable. Because let's be honest, the AGMs each year are just a dog and pony show. The individual shareholder of Celtic doesn't have a voice. He is put in his position by his mates. Let's be honest, the board of directors who appoint him to his position are all his mates. They're his golfing buddies. They're people that he's friends with. So this nonsense about how Peter Lawwell is elected by the shareholders to serve the shareholders, it's absolute rubbish. We know who calls the shots. We know who influences the overall sort of budgeting with that. And he is the one that sets the strategy. He is the one that sets the wide-ranging vision. Where we're going to target our marketing resources, where we're going to try and grow the Celtic brand, where we're going to spend money, how much money we're going to spend. He sets the budget that Neil Lennon has to work from, and he tells Neil Lennon when he can spend it. Full stop. That's just it. Okay?
Sure.
I'm not going to blame Peter Lowell when we make a bad signing, because Peter Lowell is not a football man. He's an accountant. So it's not.
He's a businessman. He's a football supporter like everybody else, but he's not. He's businessman first and Celtic man second. That's just my opinion. People don't have to agree with me on that point, but that's what I think anyway. That's the end of it.
Exactly. I'm not going to blame Peter Lowell because we signed Efren Juarez. That wasn't Peter Lowell. Peter Lowell released the purse strings for that. But when we go the entire month of August without any sort of reinforcements to help this team, to do this team as many favors as possible to qualify for the Champions League, we only reward Neil Lennon after he qualifies, after he makes miracles, and after he has his entire team decimated. Only then can he go out and strengthen the team. And what does he do? He gives them $1.5 million. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. And like you said, it's a good thing that we have the international break coming up, because we can rest some players, we can get our fitness back up, and we can come back all cylinders, get refocused. I don't think this is the end of the world, this result today. I know a lot of people are down about it, but you need to get some perspective here. You need to take stock of everything that Neil Lennon has had to deal with, and I promise you, once you do, you'll have a different attitude. If you want to bash him now, take stock of everything. I promise you'll have a different attitude after you do. We're right up against it, but before we let you go, Gary, what do you think our chances are of getting into the knockout stages of the Champions League proper? What is our minimum baseline for success in the group stages here? I mean, is just getting to the group stages enough? Would it be nice to maybe put our best foot forward and maybe impress some people, but with no expectations? Or for me personally, my minimum baseline expectation is finishing third, but I definitely think we should shoot for that second spot. What are your thoughts?
I think I'm with you in this one. For me, I'm just glad that our team is back where we belong after 4 years, and 4 years feels like a long time. To get back in a big competition.
No question.
I did make the point in one of my very first blogs a few days ago. My initial thoughts on the group were in I made the point. And I picked this up from somebody else on Twitter by the name of, I think, Moody CSE, who says that the fixture list we've got is pretty ideal for Celtic, because if you look at it, the toughest games, that's the two Barca games. That is in the middle of it all.
No question.
And the start and at the start and the latter of the fixtures are potentially winnable games. Yeah. Even if we can't win away from home, we can at least gain a point away from home, and possibly hopefully win our games at home.
I agree completely. We start off at home, against Benfica, but we also have the ability to go to Russia in October as opposed to December. Which, let's be honest, going to Russia in December, oof. Ask Hitler how that worked out for him. Not so good. We also get Spartak Moscow coming to Celtic Park in December after their season ends. So another positive aspect to that. There's a lot of things lining up quite nicely for us, and it's up to the team to step up and meet the challenge. And I think we will. I really do. I think there's been a paradigm shift in the mentality of this side. Yes, I think they showed a lot of character, a lot of courage, and the example of that, the evidence of that is they ran themselves ragged. A lot of times even playing with injuries. In spite of the injuries, we just heard today Victor Wanyama's been playing with a thigh strain for 3 weeks. No wonder he's a dead leg. I didn't. You'd never know. But Neil Lennon came out and had to explain why he pulled him at halftime. He said he's been working through a thigh strain for 3 weeks and he had a dead leg today. A dead leg? I'm impressed that he's not a dead man.
No,
that's a little dramatic, Gary. But
yeah. No, but well, before I go, Graham, I just want to pick up what you and Rev were saying about Iron Brew. It is a great cure for a hangover, and it's a lot. I said to Rev the other day, last night I think it was on Twitter, that it's much better in a glass bottle than it is in a plastic bottle. Because it's much better carbonated in a bottle.
Yeah, that's what everybody tells us. And all we can get is plastic over here. But I think the plastic is quite good. So when I get over to Scotland, first thing I'm doing when I get off the plane, glass bottle Iron Brew. I don't think I'm gonna have to go very far to get it. And
hope not. No.
Fantastic stuff.
Anyway, that's what I'm going to say. No, thanks for taking my call.
No, Gary, thanks so much for calling in. Really appreciate it. Really great to hear from you, and hopefully, you'll call in again. As we go further into the season and get into the group stages.
Will do. Okay, lads.
Fantastic, pal.
Keep the faith.
Yep. Cheers. Hail. Cheers. I'm really awkward at hanging up with people. I'm always Are you like that? Maybe you should hang up.
I should. Oh, you're the one doing the controls.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Maybe you should man this. Well, yeah, I don't know. We got to figure something out because I'm awkward. Maybe you can just do it, and then I'll just press the button. I'll pass it over to you, because you're smoother with that. I'm like, okay, hello.
And I'm supposed to be the nerdy one.
Hey, I'm awkward without a fez on my head. Okay, where's your fez?
I gotta make it. I have the bow tie, but the fez, I gotta make the fez.
Come on, Rev, let's hear you. He wears a fez out in public. He is the Rev, a skinhead. Oh, God. We are mental. I'm mental.
How do we have an audience?
I have no idea why anybody is still listening. Juan Manuel is asking, how often are you on the air? Usually a couple hours after each Celtic game. So Saturday or Sunday. I guess Argentina is still the same time zone as us. Maybe an hour earlier. But typically either at noon or 2 o'clock our time, depending on the time of the kickoff. He's got a bald head. Yes.
Argentina is an hour ahead of us.
Okay,
it's
so
4:56.
Either es la 11 o es la 1 en la tarde. I just said that with the most American accent ever. Yeah, yo tengo el sombrero.
Es bonus nachos.
¿Dónde está el baño? Por favor. Tacos y burritos. He talks with an American accent, even when he speaks Spanish. We have serious problems. What do you think? What do you think, Rev? I'm not paying attention to any of the internationals. I could care less. Let's, next up, we're going to St. Johnson.
Sorry.
While the Champions League music is playing. Yeah, we're going to McDermott Park.
Oh, no, I'm laughing at Yampy. He's like, if this show was a horse, they'd have shot it by now.
Put the horse down, mate. If this... this show is a horse, we would be in a glue factory. Okay, playing against St. Johnson, they are having a bit of a rough go of it this season. I thought they were quite good last year. They were decimated, I think, in the off-season. A lot of players going away. I don't believe any of them went to Division III, which just shows the good sense that the players there have. But okay, we are going up against St. Johnson a couple of weeks, get things kicked back into gear, and then the following Wednesday we have Benfica coming to Celtic Park. That is going to be absolutely phenomenal. It's going to be incredible. The European nights back to Celtic Park. I hope anybody who booed today has their season book stripped, because I'd kill to be able to go to Celtic Park right now.
Yeah, that hurts, when we can't, by any stretch of the imagination, except from, dropping the bank, planning years in advance just to go for one game. Like please, can I see Celtic and Dundee play?
No offense to Dundee.
No, yeah, no offense to Dundee, but it's like I'd kill for that. And then to find out people were booing and
spoiled brats, having tantrums because
Right.
because Celtic didn't win. We dropped 2 points. Whatever. Hey, Juan Manuel is he's taken off, but before he goes, gracias para es bueno que estar contigo y espero regresar contigo muy pronto. Hasta luego, mi amigo. Viva los Boca Juniors.
I have no idea what you just said. I took German in high school.
You took Turbin in high school?
German.
Oh. Super duper.
Jawohl.
Schnell. Okay. So, yeah, I think that pretty much just kills the horse. Maybe one last topic. Ali McCoist this week was found guilty and was subsequently sentenced to a 3-game touchline ban that was suspended a year and can be rescinded for good behavior. Unbelievable. The guy essentially outed 3 people and caused threats to their lives. So he put 3 people's lives in jeopardy, and he gets a suspended sentence on a touchline ban. Neil Lennon goes out and rightfully argues with a referee who had an absolute shocker, and he gets an 8-game ban.
I was just going to say, in an alternate universe, Neil Lennon does the same thing, gets thrown in a rowboat without a paddle, and expelled from the island.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. If this was Neil Lennon, he'd be banished from the game forever, and they would vilify him, and the press would absolutely bury him. No, cheeky chappy, comes out and threatens 3 people's lives, puts 3 people's lives in danger. Our manager has his life threatened constantly, is attacked on the touchline, and he's somehow a villain. Yet Ali McCoist demands to know the identity of 3 people and then causes them emotional and physical harm. You should be ashamed of yourself, you scumbag. Scum. You call yourself dignified. You're not dignified, you're scum. And I hope you stay in Division 3 forever. He's a fat ball bag. I hate him. I do. Sorry, it's a strong word, but he's just such a creep. Such a creep. Get in here anytime, Rev.
You got it all, all the bases covered. I mean, I agree too, where it's like, you don't want to say you actually outright hate him, but it's like he's done such dirty, evil, conniving, just awful deeds, and nothing like he's murdered people or, things like that. But
he put people's lives in danger,
right? He indirect or directly, I guess, really. Then, he's done some awful deeds, and
he talks down to people. He
right.
exemplifies this "we are the people" mentality, that they're
Right.
somehow superior, and they talk down on other people as though they're the best, and just belittles everyone with their brown shoes and his fat ass. Fuck you, Ali McCoist. They should suspend him forever. Sorry, I don't want to gratuitously use that language. I apologize. Maybe I should put another warning up. I think it's too late now, but I just hate him. I hate that. And then you see Bocanegra and Goyan saying, "Hey, we're leaving on a year-long loan, but we'll be back next year." And then at first you're thinking, well, why would you want to hurry up and return to the 2nd division if you guys get promoted? There's something going on here. This isn't over.
What do you mean?
Something's going to happen. No, this is not over. Something is brewing.
As in
Reconstruction.
another financial issue, or
Reconstruction.
Oh,
They're gonna reconstruct the league, SPL2, etc., etc. Don't be surprised. They will roll out some sort of technicality and change the rules to bring them back. I'm telling you, this is not over. Phil McGillivon, don't hang up the Spurs just yet, my friend. We still got work to do.
now I did see some other talk of this. I don't know if there was an actual report put out or something like that within the last week or so, but just a lot of people were talking about it. So, but it seemed that the conclusion was there wouldn't, I don't know if it was an official source or Campbell, what's his face, or
Ogilvy.
yeah, if they came out and said that it won't be happening. I mean, they can say their dog's the Pope, but that doesn't mean fuck all. But you know what I mean? Have you heard anything?
I heard their fax machine is made of gold and can rewrite the rules of what is legal and what is not. Your computer crashes at 5 minutes till midnight. Oh, that's cute. That's cute.
Yeah, that's a whole other issue there.
Scumbags.
So they're on the transfer embargo now officially, right?
Yeah. Well, supposedly until 2014, or whoever, whenever.
Until a blue moon falls on a Tuesday.
Exactly.
During the summer solstice, then all things are null and void.
Yeah, until the computer crashes again and goes back in time. I hate them. Scum. I hope they lose every single game they play in. They're nothing. They're less than nothingness.
I was glad to see Stephen Whitaker's comments. Did you see that, where he came out and was like, I don't forget wherever he went, and he goes, I had, it was a footballing decision. I have no allegiance, basically saying the old team is dead, and he said this is a new team. This isn't Rangers, so
Fuck him.
I mean, it's gonna fall on deaf ears, but
Fuck him. Once a Hun, always a Hun.
Oh no, agreed. But that's what I'm saying. You've got basically Hun numero uno coming out saying this. Imagine if Neil Lennon or Henrik Larsson said something similar about Celtic, and someone who's so ingrained with the at least in recent history, like the history and the lore of the club, and to have them say something so antithetical to what you want to hear when you have your head in the sand and your fingers in your ears and everything. I'm hoping that it was for those who don't want to believe it, a shock for them, and if they even understood what he said.
I hope they all do their cruciate ligaments and have Catholic doctors of the Opus Dei order who mistakenly sew their buttholes shut. I hate them. The hell with them. And that's all I gotta say. That's all I gotta say about it. This isn't over. It's not. They'll be back, and the evidence was clear. They can go down 3 divisions. They can change their name. They can die and come back as a different entity, and they've lost their history. Their history is done, and they're starting over. But it's still the same shower of wank.
Right. If I agree. Like you said before, Wikipedia doesn't really mean anything. But if you look at their Wikipedia page, for example, it says basically still the same team, just rebranded. Where you go to Derry City, and it clearly says Derry City up until 2009, 2010 or something like that, when they had to reform and basically start as a new team, and it's identified as such. And other teams that had to do that too, but for them, I don't know if well, there's that.
They are dead now. They have no history. They're scumbags. They break Every rule, and they can't sing this song because they're in Division 3.
Did you watch the draw on Thursday?
No, please, God, what a waste of time.
But I've never been able to before. I've never, the last couple of years I haven't cared to. And the last time Celtic were in the draw, I couldn't. So for that sake, I watched it. And they did have a dig at Rangers a bit, saying before they even started the draw, something to the effect of, that they try to, whatever, they're, talking about their values of respect and fair play, and went to say that even included finances and something to the effect of teams, not cheating with their finances and spending money on players they can't afford, et cetera, et cetera. So I thought that was a nice touch for them to do.
Show me the money.
It's boring to me. I don't know. It's just kind of a waste of time. But anyway, all right, Rev. It's time.
It's time?
Yes. We've reached the time in the afternoon where we must say goodbye, and I need to stop singing. Thank you for joining me, and thank you to everybody who's listened in. And we hope that you will join us after the St. Johnson game. I'm not really sure if we're even going to do a show next week. I mean, unless we wind up signing Didier Drogba as a free agent. We may have a 6-hour-long show after that, but there's just not much else going on. I think the players can use a rest. I think the listeners can use a rest. I think I can use a rest. I know the Rev can use a rest.
I'll take a rest.
You take a rest?
I'll take a rest.
All right. So, taking us out as always, Shane McGowan and the Pogues. Rev.
Alonzi.
Hasta luego. And we will talk to you soon. And keep your heads up. We are in the Champions League. Better days ahead. Hail, hail, and keep the faith. We'll talk to you soon.
The island, it is silent now, but the ghosts still haunt the waves. And a torch lights up a famished man who fortune could not save. Did you work upon the railroads? Did you ride the streets of crime? Were your dollars from the White House? Were they from the 5 and dime? Did the old songs start to cheer you? And did they still make you cry? Did you count the months and years? Or did your teardrops quickly dry? I know 15 was not to be on a coffin ship. I came here and I never even got so far that they could change my name. Thousands are sailing across the western ocean to a land of opportunity that some of them will never see. Fortune prevailing across the western ocean, their bellies full, their spirits free. They'll break the chains of poverty and they'll dance. In Manhattan's desert twilight, in the dead of afternoon, we stepped hand in hand on Broadway, like the first man on the moon. And a blackbird broke the silence as he whistled, it's so sweet. And then Brendan Behan's footsteps, I danced up and down the street. And we said goodnight to Broadway, giving it our best regards. Tipped our hats to Mr. Cohen, dear old Times Square's favourite bird. Then we raise a glass to JFK and a dozen more besides. When I got back to